Hey guys, Poro here with another Worlds 2025 team breakdown, this time for KT from the LCK. I think almost everyone expected KT to qualify for Worlds this year, but nobody could have predicted the way it happened. For all of 2025, LCK as a region have been viewed as a top-heavy region with 3 teams who are a cut above the rest. Gen G, T1, and HLE have all absolutely dominated the rest of the competition, and they were supposed to be shoo-ins for the top 3 seeds. KT is here with the 3 seed though, so we have to examine what exactly happened. To understand what KT's expectations were for this tournament, we have to go back and look at the organization's legacy. KT started their league tenure back in 2013 with 2 teams, KTA and KTB, later known as KT Arrows and KT Bullets. KT Arrows fielded some great all-timers like Someday, Kakao, and Rookie, whereas KT Bullets likewise had great players like Insec and Score. Despite these rosters, neither team would qualify for either Worlds 2013 or Worlds 2014, as even if they were the best regular season team and playoffs team, they would always fall short in the regional gauntlet. The team would merge together and finally qualify for Worlds in 2015, but a fast quarterfinals exit was all that would meet them. They would then go on a historic streak of disappointments as they would finish either 2nd or 3rd place domestically every single split until they finally won again in 2018 summer and were one of the favorites heading into Worlds. Unfortunately, they would be again bounced in quarterfinals, and this would lead to another dry spell until 2023, where they finished regular season in 1st, but would underperform in playoffs and qualify to Worlds as the 3 seed. Again, the org would only make it as far as quarterfinals, as they would hilariously draw the most difficult Worlds road of all time, facing 5 Eastern teams in Swiss, and drawing the odds-on favorite in JDG in quarters. For comparison, NRG qualified to quarters that year without beating a singular Eastern team. So what you should take from this is that KT are known both for being historical chokers, as well as historically horribly unlucky. This combination together means that KT can never be expected to do well, whether by their own undoing or because the gods did not allow for it. So when KT found themselves up against the consensus best team in the world in Gen G and LCK 2025 summer playoffs, everyone knew they would lose. But they didn't. This one time, when nobody counted on them to do anything, they finally shocked the world and defeated title contenders to lock their spots in for Worlds, and sent Gen G down to the lower bracket where they would have to face against T1 to determine the 4th seed for Worlds, a sentence I don't think anyone would have even thought of heading into summer. KT would quickly be dispatched afterwards, going 0-6 in game score against HLE and Gen G, locking in their unexpected 3rd seed. To find out why nobody expected this squad in top 3, let's take a look at the players. Perfect is the top laner, and this is his first year being a full-time starter for the duration of the season. In my opinion, Perfect is the weakest player on this team, and consistently gets outclassed by even the mid-tier top laners in this region. He dies on timers where he should not be dying a lot, and his teamfighting is quite poor overall. That said, I can understand why KT are starting him. He's been in their academy system since 2020, and they seem devoted to developing his talent within the org. To add to this, I think it would be fair to say Perfect has definitely gotten better since his time on the team last year and has split one this year. Heading into 2025, I held the opinion that Perfect was one of, if not the, worst top laner in the LCK. In splits 2 and 3 though, he put up some respectable performances here and there on champions like Mbessa and Rumble, so I'll be interested to see how he can hold up against some of the international competition. Cuz is a player who I've always felt deserved more respect. He's a seasoned veteran of the LCK who has seen playing time on some very competent teams, and has built up synergy with BDD since all the way back in 2017. I have to assume the two of them like playing with each other to some degree, because the two of them have played a combined 8 splits together in 3 separate chunks of time. I've always viewed Cuz as one of the greatest mid lane elevators of all time. No matter what team he's joined, and no matter who his mid laner was, he's always made them look incredibly strong, and much better than the split before he joined or the split after he left. Every team he's ever joined, with the exception of T1 during their development phase, has looked significantly better as a unit basically the instant he started playing. He took mid laners like Vikla and Bulldog, the 2 mid laners viewed as the weakest in the LCK right now, and convinced the world that they both had promising talent. Vikla received Rookie of the Year when he played with Cuz and immediately got an import offer on an LCS super team before regressing right away, and Bulldog went from being the talk of the town in 2024 to a liability on one of the worst teams the LCK has ever produced in 2025. People forget this, but even BDD had his play elevated drastically when Cuz joined him on KT in 2023, as he went from double 8th place finishes the year prior to title contenders. If I were to get anything across to you all about Cuz in this video, I want it to be that Cuz plays very well around his laners even at his own expense, and he's amazing at turning bad teams into playoffs threats. Also, Cuz is the undisputed Smite 50-50 god for what it's worth. The player who everyone rightfully crowns as this team's star player is their mid laner BDD. Throughout the year, BDD has had stretches of being arguably the best or second best mid laner in the world, and he's had a number of 1v9 performances when the rest of his team is letting him down. BDD is one of the great LCK mid laners of all time, and his career very much mirrors KT's legacy, as BDD seems to always fall just short of winning. He's come up short of expectations at many internationals, but still retains the respect of all the domestic fans. This year he's been given essentially full control over the destiny of his team, as he plays with a jungler who specializes in playing around lanes, and a bot laner who prefers weak side duty. As such, KT is one of the few teams in the world whose central carry focus is their mid laner, and BDD has done his best job at shouldering this responsibility. He has a number of great highlight plays and super carry performances, and he's done it on a wide array of champions that other players don't have in their pools, such as Lissandra, Zoe, Syndra, and Tristana to name a few. Expect great things from BDD, he's definitely one of the best mid laners at this tournament. A lot of people don't like Doctom, and I can understand why. He undoubtedly lacks the clutch gene in his veins, and he's not the greatest on high agency champions who need to step up and take over a game. As such, his reputation over the years has become one of disappointment, as he's viewed as a mid-tier at best bot laner for an LCK team. That said, I'm one of the few Doctom defenders out there, and I think he's a little misunderstood by the League community. The read on Doctom not being a great carry player and not a great high resource player is absolutely correct. There's a reason why BDD has to bend over backwards to carry so many of the games he does, I won't deny that. Doctom is in many ways the mid-tier player people believe he is. However, Doctom does have world-class talent, it just manifests itself in a unique way. Doctom is a utility specialist and thrives on a wide range of champions that other bot laners usually can't play as well. He has an above-average Jhin, a great Xayah, a great Ezreal, a great Ziggs, is by far the best Ashe player in the world, is a fantastic Senna player, and even has a pocket pick world-class Aphelios when the draft calls for it. His Kalista, Corki, and Sivir could all definitely use a lot of work, and it's always underwhelming when he plays it, but in my eyes he clearly has an elite skill set that can contribute to winning League of Legends. I'm not saying Doctom should be considered a top tier ADC at this tournament, because he definitely should not be, but he is a player with many valuable strengths who deserves his spot on a playoff caliber team, and I believe he gets disrespected too much. Nothing he does is that flashy, and his team definitely relies on other players to get the team across the finish line, but don't underestimate his impact when he gets his champions. KT's support is Peter, and I tend to think that Peter is the other player alongside Perfect who is a bit of an odd fit on a Worlds team. Peter is serviceable enough as a support, but he has no standout qualities that put him above the rest. He's tried a few games of ranged lane dominant supports like Elise, Bard, and Lulu, but none of them have looked that good. Instead, Peter's best work is done on standard engaged champions like the tanks you would all expect, and Nico. His favorite champions to pick are the big three of Leona, Nautilus, and Alistar, but nothing he does on them screams that he's a great player. I think Peter is a fine support who's good enough to play in the LCK, but there are definitely a number of supports domestically who would make more sense on the team representing as the third seed. KT all year have been dubbed as the Cuz and BDD show, and the two of them have been the main pieces of all of their big wins. When KT went up against Genji in that 5-game banger, an astronomical amount of things had to go right for them. First off, Peter and Perfect needed to not int. KT would not be so lucky on this front, as Perfect had a terrible game 2 and 3, and Peter had a poor game 3, which were also KT's 2 losses in the series. Second, BDD had to play some amazing League. In KT's 3 wins, BDD had a combined scoreline of 23 kills, 3 deaths, and 27 assists, for a KDA of 16.7. These are the types of games BDD has to have to beat top teams. Third, Cuz needed to play the best League of Legends he's ever played in his entire career. Over the course of the series, Cuz was absolutely fantastic and easily better than Canyon in at least 4 of the 5 games. Together, Cuz and BDD ran the series. Fourth, they had to get Doctom on one of his special champions in every single game. They managed to do it in this series, but Fearless Draft isn't always so hospitable that a specialist can just get what they want for 5 games in a row. Finally, after all of that, after everything coming together, they still needed one more thing to go right to come away with the win. Canyon and Chovy, 2 of the best players in the world, had to have an awful night and practically run it down in every single game. And even with 2 of Genji's key players playing the worst series of their entire year, KT still only barely managed to scrape by in a sweaty 5-game banger. If even one of those things hadn't happened, KT's chances of winning the series would have shot down drastically. We saw exactly what should have happened when the 2 teams rematched in the lower bracket finals, and Genji quickly slapped KT aside in an underwhelming 0-3. And that's kind of how it goes for any series KT plays against anyone. Perfect and Peter need to not int, Doctom needs to get his champions, and Cuz and BDD need to play elite League of Legends. If they can't do that on any given night, they will struggle to win, especially against the top teams from other regions. Don't let KT's 3rd seed fool you, they are absolutely the 4th best team coming out of the LCK. As for what I think will happen at Worlds, I'm not too sure. Their ceiling is probably quarterfinals, maybe stumbling into semis if they get a lucky draw. Their floor is what I'm more interested in. I could see them losing to any of the LPL teams, the top teams from the Western regions, and potentially the top teams from the LCP as well. It shouldn't be expected, of course, the expectation is that they make quarterfinals, but with as many questionable pieces as KT have, and their reputation as an org, anything could happen. That's all I have for you for this one. 9 down, 8 to go. I recently started a Patreon for people who want to support me more while I'm making these videos. I have 3 tiers, each with varying amounts of benefits including different types of behind the scenes content, and even a custom Poro drawing that I'll display in video outros. If that interests you, check out the Patreon link in the description. I'll see you all for the next one. Bye!